Hello everybody, and welcome back. It has been a minute since I checked in, and some stuff has been going on. For those of you that didn't know, I recently launched a Kickstarter, and it is involving an RPG and a graphic novel, and things looked pretty dicey. We were only at about 20% for a while, and then in the last 24 hours, some bonkers stuff happened.
So I go to the grocery store to pick up some bananas, and I come back and some banana stuff has been going on. I'm getting all these texts saying congratulations and oh my god. So I figured it was this, but I'm blown away. I'm astounded. I'm kind of in an adrenaline rush right now.
So, since that time, I've been working on the Black Feathers graphic novel and the Into the Runaverse RPG adventures. That includes a 5e setting for your D&D adventures, and we're working on a Pathfinder one, but we're also working on a custom RPG engine so you can play a different system in case you're not feeling like D&D or Pathfinder at any given time. And today I wanted to show you the process of me updating some of my artwork from about 3 to 4 years ago to the finished piece that's going to be used in the RPG book. The specific creature that it's going to be focused on is one of the first ones that I came up with when I had the conception for the Runaverse as a gaming system about 5 years ago, and it's called the DEDHED, playing on the death cap mushroom. Also, deadheads, it's also a play on a little bit of the drug use, and what maybe some mushrooms could possibly do if people aren't careful. And so, starting off here, you can see it's hard to see the sketch that I'm using underneath, but I'm basically tracing over a pencil scribble that I did while I was at my desk, adding some colors. I really felt like I needed to make things pop because I hadn't found the brush and the colors that I wanted yet, but this was when I was like, it's good enough, it'll work. And so, this is what we came up with. And this is kind of where the first version was finished, and it stayed that way for about 3 or 4 years. Now, this next part is what I inked earlier today. It's where I'm redoing the lines and all of the color. And I think you're going to see, at the end, we're going to see a before and after. And I'm pretty happy with the difference that came out of it all. For those interested, this is being done on the Procreate app on my iPad. You can get it on most iOS devices, I believe. The brush that I'm using for my inks is called Syrup. I really like it. It feels a lot like how I use my brush pens not in real life, but on pen and paper. And then as I get into color, the color brush that I prefer to use is called Tinderbox. I don't know what that is referenced to, but I really like how it looks. It was at this point that I realized I was probably going to have to redo most of the colors, if not all of them. I hit the purples first. I wanted something that looked, I don't want to say gray, I wanted the sense this is definitely a living plant. Fungus? Is fungus technically different than a plant? Somebody let me know in the comments. But I also wanted to play with some weird colors, and so I know that the color magenta is considered very unnatural, and that we are the only, if not if not the only species who can see it. And so then I started to play around with different line weights, and I'm adding more of like a vein, pulsating sense of something underneath this purple skin, and I'm going to play around within that purple and pink spectrum for a little bit, adding some details to the stems. Not really sure what I'm going to do with the grass yet as I'm going through this, but starting to drop a little bit of shadow in. Sometimes just kind of knowing how this is going to look helps me figure out what other colors need to go where. And these are all going on different layers, so I can play around with them and see dropping what on where works best. But there was a shade of orange that I was pretty excited to use, but I knew I needed to do it towards the end, and I immediately nope this decision. You'll see me hate this right away. Yeah, start to backtrack. As I was adding in the clouds and the spores around the mushroom, I felt like there was something missing. We needed to fill that space, and then as I was getting filled in, it just sort of struck me something to add to the implied deadliness of this creature that might not be apparent through its normal appearance in nature, other than the fact that it's an enormous mushroom shaped like a skull. So as I put this skull in, I felt like it really tied everything together, especially with that little DEDHED cap growing out of one of the eye sockets. It felt like it gave the whole thing a sense of space. I'm happy that I went with it. At first I was going to do full teeth, and then I thought it'd be kind of fun if some of them were taken or eaten away. And then as everything gets inked in, you'll see how I start to play around with the color and do the shading to kind of pull everything in once we drop some more color in on this. And as I added the skull, I realized that I can start to pull the whole thing in. I don't need to give it as much space around the mushrooms as need be, and so I start to pull the clouds and the grass in because the skull gives it its own sense of existence in space. And then I'm gonna start to dip some color in, and you can see me finally getting to put that orange in right underneath the skin of the mushroom, and I love it so much, just looking at splash on there. I had a lot of fun kind of hollowing out the eye socket of the skull and putting in some more of that kind of bleached bone brown that it gets. I had a lot more fun once that skull was added. It's like I needed to go in and hit everything again and put a little bit more detail in, a little bit more wrinkle. It just gave it a little bit more of a sense of vibrancy and life. And now I'm starting to drop really blocky shadows in there all around, and I'll start to, blend it in there. See what I can do to, adding a little bit more details and whatnot. I signed it, but I'm still about to add a lot more. Yeah, I'm already adding more details even though I signed it. Whew, and that is it. Alright, well, I would like to show you guys again what the before was. This is what the artwork started as about 3 to 4 years ago, and it looks like a sketch, like it started as. It looks like I roughly transferred it from my sketchbook to my iPad, but never really did anything else with it. But this is what I did today. I think there's a significant improvement. We got better colors, pops. That skull changes everything, and I am altogether extremely, incredibly happy with this. I think it was a success in what the goal was to be set out to accomplish today, and I'm excited to get to the rest of the DEDHED artwork and show you guys the transformations on those. So, one more time, thank you guys so much for joining me. My name is TJ. I look forward to making a lot more of these types of videos for you through the artwork journey of this to make it more accessible. Keep an eye out for more information on the TTRPG that this was being designed for, Into the Runaverse. It will be a 5e setting. We're working on a Pathfinder setting, and then also its own gaming system. Those will be later in the year. And also the Black Feathers graphic novel, all of which were help funded by that awesome Kickstarter that you guys helped bring together. So once again, thank you. I'm going to have my friend Ken lead us into the outro. Let's take it away, Mr. Big Sleep.
You had any at the right time. Many villains in the nighttime. Many killers in the right mind. Full of trig if they might find. Any coward in your heart mind. Bravest guy, full of woes. Funky G's, band of bros. This good life ain't righteous though. Roll me up without the drove. Pass me to the left and bell. I made this hell with lots of snow. The only fortune I can show. My love of family, lots of bros. Lots of mothers give me glow. Cops still hunting as I flow. Melanin nightmares in my hair. My stare, my air. My air ain't fair. I wear this care. I bear so blur that pair of chairs. Repairs are costly. Let this message kill me softly. I made it here without the blow. Growing up, show the foes. For the show and for the low. Growing up, show the foes. For the show and for the low. Showing up and growing out. For the peace, for the glow. Flow with ease so people know I pen this pen to kinfolk. Can to write my end quotes. Love. Growing up, show the foes. For the show and for the low. Showing up and growing out. For the peace.